There was really nothing called partnership. It was something to hold the society together. It was just a way of life. Let's put it that way, right? Even then, there wasn't partnership. There were two people coming together. Why so? Because the society does the same thing, so am I supposed to do? And people never thought there is any other possibility, right?
Yes.
Now, there are possibilities of you can choose your partner, but unfortunately, there is no foundation how to choose a partner. If you look at social media, everyone is continuously telling, see what the other person is bringing to the table. If the person is high value person,
Yeah.
if you're getting this and that and that. So it's all transactions. I don't think people really understand the meaning of life partner. They just know partnership.
I see that people are hurting in that as well because it's usually one person carrying the load. So again, that is not a partnership as well. So let's first talk about what do you really think is a partnership? When someone chooses a life partner, what do you think they mean?
Let me clarify that part because that's very important. So if people chose from the so-called heart because they watched the BLJ or any romantic movie,
Yeah.
they didn't choose from the heart. They chose from biochemistry. That's a very different thing from heart. When I say heart, I mean intuition. What I mean is that every woman thinks, oh, I can change him, right? Either I'll change him with manipulation or I'll change him with sex, which is another manipulation, but I will change him. Let me just have him. I will show him, right? And the same thing the man is thinking. Let me just have her. I'll control her. I will not let her do this. So let's really understand whatever is popular in social media. It is not necessary. It works for everyone. First of all, we are 8 billion people with 8 billion different psyche, background, conditioning, programming, families, love, complicated stuff, and our wound, right?
Yeah.
So now, if they are saying, and I really highly disagree with the fact that they are portraying men, if you are a masculine man, then only you will be providing and protecting. Yes, instinctively, that is the role of a man.
So I think if one grows in a patriarchal or a conservative family where male and female roles are really defined, like very segregated, I think it is very hard to, do you think it would be very hard to break out of it? Like you just said, what does it take? I think it takes everything, no?
Yes, it takes everything, but then see, if something is paining you, it should pain you enough for you to want to let go of the pain.
Hi, I'm Sonia. Sahar and I are starting a very interesting series of conversation on love, life, and everything in between. In the first conversation, we're talking about choosing partners. Hi, Sahar, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so I'm just going to begin. I'm going to dive right into it. So today we've come together to talk about choosing a partner.
Yes. And
And-
also maybe not choosing one.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a great starting point. So, when I was driving to the place and I was thinking that what are we going to talk about and how I can steer the conversation to get the best out of it and really have your deepest, innermost thoughts on what partnership in today's times means. Because if you look at the history of partnerships, I think how it started, like if you just go one generation back, jo hamare parents the, I think they were very accepting of their partnerships because they never chose their partnerships. They were firstly accepting that someone else is going to choose their partner for them. When the partner was chosen, it was a very role driven sort of structure, right? The mother knows she's the wife, then she turns into the mom, and then the children. Everybody has a definite role that they are sort of playing, and everybody has, I wouldn't really call it surrender or acceptance. It's actually just a quiet give.
Programming.
Yes, like a conditioning, right?
Yeah.
That this is how it is, this is how it happens. But I think that is changing now. So how do you think partnership is changing in today's times? What do you think people are like? How do people view partnerships now?
I think the time that you are talking about, the partnership was about a kind of conditioning. And it was like, I'm seeing everyone else doing the same thing. So it was automated. There was really nothing called partnership. It was something to hold the society together. It was just a way of life. Let's put it that way, right? Even then, there wasn't partnership. There were two people coming together. Why so? Because the society does the same thing. So am I supposed to do? And people never thought there is any other possibility, right?
Yes.
Now, there are possibilities, of you can choose your partner, but unfortunately, there is no foundation how to choose a partner.
Yes.
Yeah. So they think choosing a partner, a life partner, is kind of choosing a business partner. They are using the same parameters to choose a friend or a, let's say, business partner, to choose a partner for their life. Mostly, I'm not saying this is a generic thing. So I really feel now the partnership that now we are understanding is at a very base chakra level. It's very transactional. If you look at social media, everyone is continuously telling, see what the other person is bringing to the table. If the person is high value person,
Yeah.
if you're getting this and that and that. So it's all transactions. I don't think people really understand the meaning of life partner. They just know partnership, and that kind of a transactional exchange is now seeping into every communication, every relationship, including friendship. So, as far as I'm concerned, no one is choosing a partner. They are choosing a business partner who can also provide, if it is a female. And if it is a male, they're choosing a person, it's again transactional, who will take my lineage forward and also will look good with me in the society. We feel good about each other is no more important, right? Because it is all analytical. If you want to have a partner, you will go by your heart. You will never choose a partner by just thinking and logically deciding, okay, I'll get this plus this is, 2 plus 2 is 4, or it is 44. Now everyone wants the 44. So I think nowadays people are partnering or thinking they're choosing a partner, but what is the basis of that choice is really dangerous.
Clarifies a lot of things, but it also brings a lot of more questions to my mind. So, like I'm a millennial. I grew up in the late 90s and the early 2000s, and that was the biggest phase of rom com. So, you said this sentence about, choosing a partner from the heart, and that was sort of touted as the main philosophy of films like DDLJ, Dil To Pagal Hai, and all, where it's like everything else, everything that is practical in your life, like swipe it off the table and let's just find a partner who मतलब मेरा दिल कह रहा है मुझे प्यार हो गया है, so people did, I think, marry and choose a lot of partners given that criteria. And when I see it in my limited life experience, I see that people are hurting in that as well, because it's usually one person carrying the load. So, again, that is not a partnership as well. So, let's first talk about what do you really think is a partnership? When someone chooses a life partner, what do you think they mean?
Okay, first let me clarify that part because that's very important. So if people chose from the so-called heart because they watched the DLJ or any romantic movie,
Yeah.
they didn't choose from the heart. They chose from biochemistry. That's a very different thing from heart. When I say heart, I mean intuition. It is not that I have already dated a person, romanticized him or his potential, and now I am in love with him. Now I should partner him. That has nothing to do with loving from the heart or choosing a partner from the heart. That is choosing from chemistry.
Okay.
That's totally a different thing, right? When we say choosing from the heart, is you meet a person and you just know this is it. Now you're not looking at whether I'm madly in love, whether he's buying me flowers, whether he comes from so and so family and can take care of me, whether my parents will approve. When I'm saying about choosing a partner from the heart, it is where you are choosing a partner from a space of this is it. I accept it. Now I'm going to get into it knowing and having faith this is the partner, and I will see the consequences. In older times, when it was conditioning, they would get into it and they would face all the consequences, so they
Sure.
would stay because they didn't even have a way out.
Sure.
Now because we have a way out, we think we should, and we should do it immediately, right? No one is really giving time to a partnership or a relationship. So we have gone from this extreme of not knowing anything to the extreme of knowing too much but not knowing what to do with what we know, and getting really confused because no one is having the time to sit with himself or herself and decide what do I really want, because what do I really want would be based on who who am I really. If I don't know who am I, how do I know if I would be getting along with you or not? I'll just go, think, okay, mil liya, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen like that. Now, coming to the question where what is a real partnership? In a relationship based on romance, a real partnership is where you meet a person, let's say, right? And whether it is arranged setup, because we have that in India, or where it is the person, it doesn't matter. Now you sit realistically and think with yourself that this person, and you need to be vulnerable so that the other person can be vulnerable, and you show your good, bad, ugly, and let the other person shows their good, bad, ugly. And now you sit and do an honest check with yourself, not how much he has, how beautiful she is, what is the status, how will I be provided, or how will she take care of my home. These are stupid questions. The questions that we need to ask in order to partner with someone is, this is my idea of faithfulness, this is my idea of loyalty, this is how sorry, my love language has been, this is how I know how to reciprocate. These are the places I lie to myself. These are the places this person can get aggressive. Now, can I accept all of this? Not only him or her and also myself, but now us as a union. Is this person worth it for me to step on my ego for this partner? So
Okay.
if we do this homework, then we are choosing a life partner. Otherwise, we are doing business.
Okay, well, tell me something. I have so many questions. इतने सारे सवाल निकल गए हैं, but let me just go one by one. You said that we need to go by intuition when we're choosing a partner. That's what we really need to do. That's the most important thing. And all the questions that you spoke about, like, is my concept of loyalty this? What is my love language? Can I be vulnerable with this person, etc.? All these questions also spring from intuition, right? That
Yes,
intuitively
your
I
gut
need.
is trying to tell you whether this
Yeah.
person is emotionally safe for you, not
Yeah.
financially safe for you. That is not important. If someone is super wealthy but keeps beating you up every day, what do you do with that? Right? So, is this person emotionally safe for me? Can I trust him or her with my secrets? Can I trust this person with my family? What if I die? Will this
Yeah.
person take care of my family? Will this person love me enough to know from which background and which wounds I'm coming? And then try to help me come out of it instead of hammering me with a nail. So if we are not asking these questions, we're just looking at the person, oh, looks good, tall, handsome, or pretty, and comes from this family, speaks well, knows how to laugh or dress up, or whatever is the criteria. And then, of course, if there is money, also not bad, or someone is successful, that's even better. Now, what are we really doing? Who is marrying whom? Right? Who is partnering with whom? My mind, which I am not even using at 2% capacity, is trying to understand another person's mind, which is not working at 2% capacity. And now we think we can manage a life which is going to be not 200% capacity of the mind, which we have no idea of. How will that work? But if you go with your gut, then you know, okay, this person is someone I can handle. Even they can be really ugly in some sides. I can be very ugly.
Yes.
But if you've accepted it and your gut says this is it. But if your gut is saying no, run away, and you're still staying, and then you're marrying or being together, living, whatever, just because in the society you look good together, then you're actually doing a business partnership.
But Sahar, tell me, again, I'm going to go back to the question of intuition and the gut feeling, right? Unfortunately, I think most people are not in touch with themselves. They really don't know what their gut is saying. So I think what you mean to say, if I paraphrase it, that a single person, someone who's looking to choose a partner, must first do some self work and develop their intuitive sort of sense, the sense of intuition within themselves, get in touch with their gut and really know what the gut feeling is. Because tell me something, like say I'm single. I'm not, but say I'm single and I'm looking to choose a partner. The questions that you said, being vulnerable, emotionally available, love languages matching, and generally just be able to show your good, bad, ugly, your secrets, etc. Trust factor. ये सब चीजें टाइम नहीं लगता जानने में किसी को.
So time do. What is the need to jump into a relationship as soon as you meet a person? Give the relationship time.
But what do people do in arranged marriage setups?
See, arranged marriage setup is very different. Now you are in a position where you have to get to know the person one step at a time. Now, before, what used to happen, that you get into an arranged marriage setup, and then you get to know, and then you feel, I have no choice but to accept this. Right
Yes.
now, what is happening is people think, I have a choice not to accept this because I have choices outside. Okay?
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you're not dealing with this here, no matter what choice is outside, you will repeat the same pattern with that person, right? And when I'm talking about gut feeling or intuition, using it, whether you're single and you're choosing a partner, whether you don't want to choose a partner, this is something everyone must develop, because it is your GPS. It is going to tell you what is meant for you and what is not meant for you, right? You
Yes.
would be meeting so many people to work with. Do you choose to work with everyone?
Sure. Yeah. I don't.
You don't, because why? You just meet one person and
Yeah.
say, not this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So why is it we are not using it for a life partner?
Hmm.
Just because everything looks very glittery and fancy, you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it is definitely about developing that sense of intuition. Like if we don't have our own compass, how are we going to measure someone else's capacity to have a compass? Or
And also, I feel nowadays people are kind of overconfident about themselves. They underestimate the marriage as an institution, and they overestimate their capacity or capability, right? What I mean is that every woman thinks, oh, I can change him, right? Either I'll change him with manipulation, or I'll change him with sex, which is another manipulation, but I will change him. Let me just have him. I will show him, right? And the same thing the man is thinking. Let me just have her. I'll control her. I will not let her do this. And then they come in a situation where all this logical nonsense is not going to work, because
yes.
we as human beings are very free spirited, right? And we want authenticity and honesty, right? And when you realize someone is not giving this to you, and someone is not letting you be, or you cannot be yourself with this person, how long will you stay in a cage? Tell me. We are not birds with, and our wings are not, clipped. We can fly off the cage.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, when we want to fly off the cage, we need to know which kind of forest we are entering now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why we're flying out. I think a
Yeah.
lot of times we don't even know. There are so many overlays, like we don't even know why we are leaving a relationship, right?
Yeah.
We just sort of give certain labels on it without realizing that. And we face the same problem with the next person that we date. I think that is also something that I've
I had a
heard.
consultation with a gentleman long ago, 3-4 years ago, and he tells me, I said, but what was the need to get into a relationship and get married so fast? Maybe the whole getting to know each other and getting married was about not even 6 months or something, and so called love marriage. He said, I thought it's a project. If I can do my business, I will also do marriage. It's not like that. You can't do marriage, you have to build it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whether it is arranged love or whatever, once you have agreed to be with each other, then you need to build it.
Okay, so this is we've sort of covered single people. If someone is single and looking for a partnership, but say there are so many people who are already in partnerships, who've already gotten married, and due to whatever reason, maybe it was an arranged marriage, or maybe it was they chose for love and realized that it is not what they thought it was. Like people are evolving, right? And we have to be compassionate, and we have to love ourselves as we evolve, right? And a lot of times what happens is that people choose what's right for them at that point in time, but as they move forward, when they are changing and the partner is changing, they realize that they're changing in different directions, right? And
Yeah.
which is sort of inevitable, right? So tell me, Sahar, उस टाइम पे जब लोग उस स्टेज पे होते हैं, who are married few years into the marriage, and now they realize that okay, what I thought when I got married is not really working for me now. And I need to, like, as you said, get in touch with my intuition and build my marriage now, you
Yeah.
know? So, what do you think they should do?
I think the first thing is to be very honest about the changes.
Okay.
It can be growth oriented, it can be related to your mental setup, it can be the way you see life now. Sorry, maybe at some point you observed or you thought a relationship is supposed to be ABCD. Now you think, no, it has to be, XYZ. So, but you need to be honest about it. And what is it that you want? Or
Honest
what is
with?
about how you see it now.
No, honest with yourself.
First
And-
yourself. It always starts from the self. First you be honest with yourself and understand that all these changes and whatever is bothering, obviously it is bothering you. Otherwise, why would the question
Yeah.
arise, right?
Yeah.
If the growth is harmonious, it will not bother.
Hmm.
If the expectations are harmonious, it will not bother. So
Hmm.
if there is a need to relook at the partnership now, then it means something is bothering someone or maybe both, right?
Yeah.
So then it is important to really sit down and understand what is bothering, why is it bothering, and yes, we want to choose ourselves, but when we want to choose ourselves, we always say we choose ourselves for the highest good of all. We cannot be excluded from the all. If I'm choosing myself, this is a life partnership, but if I'm choosing myself in business, I'm choosing myself in my therapy work or whatever, but it has to be for the highest good of all. I can't be just choosing myself separate from the unit I'm in. So all this self-love talk which is going on, the
Yeah.
context is you should love yourself, but also know that the love for yourself is not hurtful and harmful to other
Yes.
people unless it's an extremely painful, difficult situation. That's another thing. You are going through physical or sexual abuse or emotional abuse. Your partner is, let's say, diagnosed narcissistic, not just because you thought
You
he
feel
or
so.
she is. Okay. So when those things are there, now you want to answer, okay, what is bothering me? Is my growth being sabotaged? Is my emotions, being met and unmet, or they are being invalidated? It is my sense of self-worth which is getting compromised? What is bothering me, right? Because I don't have that dress, or I can't go to that party which my friend is going. These are nonsense issues, right? These are, we want to create issues because the problem is somewhere else, but we don't want to look at that problem. So once I know this is the issue, there are really valid things. Now you want to speak them and communicate them, and also if you're growing to in different direction, obviously the other person is going through something. It's not only me I'm going through
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
So now I want to also ask, once we have discussed this, then it is not that okay, I'm going to do this. Then the question is, how do we support each other in this? How do you want me to be, or what do you want me to do in order for me to support your dreams, so that you feel seen and heard in the relationship, and how can we spark it, right? And similarly, and then you can also communicate what I want. Now, till here it's okay, but if from here one or both will not put in any effort,
Yes.
right, to change things, you can do your level best.
Yeah.
You can do 1 year of you can go to a therapist, you can go to a counselor, you can do it together, you can try, but if you would know if the other person is not putting the effort, then now you need to address why the other person is not putting the effort, right? But this whole homework has to be done. And see, marriage or any partnership is a almost every 10-minute choice. Every time there's a conflict, you have to sit down and see what do you want to choose, yourself, the partner, or the relationship. So it's a continuous choice. And also, mm, unfortunately, I think the problem arises where one partner is still ready to work, the other is not able to see the problem.
Yes. Yes. I was just gonna say that you've actually literally snatched the words from my
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah.
So now we also have to understand the background. Like, let's say if I come from a home where I was never heard or unseen, and everything I demanded was harshly responded to.
Yes.
Okay, no, that cannot be done. Be a good girl and do that.
Yeah.
Now I have become a people pleaser,
Yeah.
and I'll keep doing what I'm doing, which is wrong, and I will make my partner entitled, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm continuously doing it. Now I can't do it. Now I am communicating that I can't do this. So now in your partner, how come she's changed?
Yeah.
Something is not okay.
Yeah.
Still now everything is fine.
Yeah.
And now because you have made the partner so entitled by pampering, overgiving, every
Yeah.
time
They are feeling like something bad is being done to them. They feel like the
yeah,
victim.
now they feel, but the truth is different. Now, if your partner has reached a level where the person is not able to even understand your language,
Yeah.
then we have a problem at hand. Then we really need
Yeah.
professional help, or we may have to think how much
Yeah.
more of my peace and my heart and my time and my growth can
Yeah.
I now see. Till now it was co-creating, but when this happens, it becomes a sacrifice. because now the other person is not budging.
Hmm.
And you are trying 1 year, 2 year, but you can't be trying for 30 years because you deserve a life too, right? But all this homework needs to be done and has to be done very honestly. Most of the time, Sonia, we are not honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not that I lie to you to maintain a self image. Everyone does that. The problem is when I lie to myself because I am so unable to see my own dark.
Yeah.
It is terrifying,
Yes.
it's petrifying me. It's like I can't be this bad. And the shame and the guilt and whatever
Yeah.
conditioning of the childhood has come. Now, if that is the issue, then we really have a problem at hand. And unfortunately, I think 70% of the times that is an issue. One partner is just not able to, forget about not wanting to, they're not able to understand the communication.
Yeah.
It's
And
so
that,
sad.
so that happens, right? I mean, like in some way or the other in a marriage, that is going to happen. I think especially in long marriages, which are like these days, you can say 10 years is a long marriage,
Oh my
right?
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, say you're like 7, 8 years into the marriage and you realize suddenly, you're like 34, 35, and you suddenly realize that, you know what? I am done with the people pleasing. I have done that. That was my survival tactic. Say you go to therapy or you read a book and suddenly you have that awakening or some planetary alignment, koi mahadasha shuru ho gaya, and
Oh my God, yeah.
and you realize that okay, I am just a different person, because I think that happens with a lot of women specifically who are in their early 30s. In your early 30s, your marriage also sort of, if you married in your late 20s, your marriage stabilizes, which I think I speak for a lot of millennials when I say this, because a lot of us got married in our late 20s, and like by our mid 30s, early 30s, we're approaching that 7 8 year mark where we are comfortable enough with the partner to, and everything else financially, professionally, business wise also sort of aligns. The kids are also or maybe one kid or two kids, they've become like more than toddlers, so they're
Yeah.
not like actively
On your face.
eating our attention, like 100% attention. The cognitive faculty really comes back, right? And that's when you feel like, okay, I'm going to work on myself, because what else is there to do, right? I mean, Maslow's hierarchy, if you see, like survival, and then you go to psychological needs, and then you go to emotional needs, and then self actualization. So I think हम उस emotional need वाले जगह पे पहुंच जाते हैं, and mostly it's women, I think, who sort of are more relationship focused. They are more
I
focused
don't
on.
agree.
So a lot of dating experts. So I listen to a lot of dating experts in popular culture, like female dating experts and male dating experts, right? And what one can deduce if you listen to them, the pattern that emerges is that female dating coaches are talking about focusing on emotions, relationships, and just focusing on the emotional angle of the relationship, being understood, being heard, felt, seen, etc. Whereas male coaches are talking about high value partnerships, and you have to be the 20% out of the 100%, the top 20%, go, all females want that, sexual attraction, those kind of things. So the conversation that really, one is able to deduce from this, that women are more relationship centric, like taking the emotional labor of the relationship upon them, whereas men are more, I'm loving your expressions. Whereas men are
Punched.
men are
Experts.
shown the way of providing like a sense of security, which is more like financial and comfort level security, and after that you're done, the woman is going to do the emotional labor. What do you think about that, this narrative being created?
Yeah, so because it sells. Anything anything you see very popular on social media, it's not because it is true. It's because it sells well. So let's really understand whatever is popular on social media. It is not necessary it works for everyone. First of all, we are 8 billion people with 8 billion different psyche, background, conditioning, programming, families, love, complicated stuff, and our wounds, right?
Yeah.
So now, if they're saying, and I really highly disagree with the fact that they are portraying men, if you are a masculine man, then only you will be providing and protecting. Yes, instinctively, that is the role of a man. Why? Very simple. in the primitive time, when we lived in caves, when the woman got pregnant, she couldn't go hunt.
Yes.
So the man had to go hunt and also had to protect not only her but also his offspring and also himself. So yes, he's a protector, he's a provider, but it doesn't mean he has no emotion. The problem in relationship comes when we listen to too much of this. Sorry, with all
Yeah.
due respect. But the other thing is, we must understand we are designed differently. We love differently. We have different roles to play, but we also process emotions differently. See, a man to process an emotion needs silence, needs to go and, lock himself somewhere and understand what's going on. But the moment your man is silent, then you're like, what happened? Who are you thinking of? What are you thinking of? Is something wrong? We are not allowing. Whereas the woman wants a person to wants to be heard.
Yes.
That is how she will. That's why women have so many close friendships, even though they are jealous of each other. But they need that support system because they need to be heard. Now, a woman wants to be heard and not fixed, and a man wants to fix. Right. So
Yeah.
if we understand these differences and how each one of us function and how we process emotion, then we will be able to see the person, man or a woman, for what they are being designed for, and then allow them to work like that. Now when we talk about, let's say, male coaches, high value, what does really high value mean? High value, and then people sit and go, in that 20% you should be earning this much.
Yeah.
This is how you will dress up, your tone would be like that, your
Yeah.
head. High values about your character. What is your understanding of dignity? What is your integrity level? How judgmental of other people you are or you are not. When the hard time comes, how hard will you hit back at life? This is being of high value, not what nonsense they're talking. I don't know what they're talking. And similarly, high value woman is who? Who can respect her man? Whatever is between the two of you is between the two of you. The whole world doesn't need to know. So if I'm a woman of, let's say, higher status, I'm a coach, this, that, and then I go and gossip about my husband's family to my friend, I am not high value woman anymore. No matter what I'm wearing, how I look, how I carry myself, right? So these are the principles and personality traits which makes you high value, which makes you a good protector, a provider, or for a woman, a nurturer. Now, we have no choice as women but to be a nurturer because we have a womb. We are by design nurturer. We can't have a baby in our womb and say, oh, I'm not going to nurture. It's not my job to do. But we do the same thing with our positions in relationship. Oh, I'm a wife. Why should I only do things? This is old. They say this is old time women used to do this. Taking care of your child can't be old time or new time. You have brought another soul into this reality. You are responsible for it, and it is your responsibility, no one else's. But that is old time mothers would do. Old time women would take care of their home. Now it's a kind of a shame to be a woman and actually perform as a woman, because now the society wants performance from you, but the performance, as per what social media telling you, you would be high value. So that's why the value society of the system of the society is completely crashed, right? So it is not that men are supposed to be like that. They're not supposed to be. They are like that. You take a problem to a man, the first thing is he wants to give you a clear answer and tell you this is how to fix it. And you don't want to fix the problem because some of us, we want attention in lieu of the exchange of our problem and worries. But the men don't understand that part. They want attention from opposite sex because that will tell them that they are good at what they are meant to be, right? Women want attention from anyone because that will give them what they are created for more love, for more pampering, for more, all of that. And then we sit down and we decide, okay, now they need to exchange roles. And then we say why this is happening, you know I really feel we cannot generalize what we see or what we hear. And I actually feel very sad for men. They have the same emotion as we have, but we are not giving them the permission to deal with it.
Perhaps it's also like, do you also think that, there is this very famous saying that patriarchy hurts both men, and in India and in Asia, we see so much patriarchy. Even the West is now going to a very more conservative definition of patriarchy, right? So there's this saying, it goes like, patriarchy hurts both men and women, but it only benefits men. So men, unfortunately, have reaped the benefits of patriarchy. Of course, it has hit them as well, which is why
But I don't understand what is patriarchy. I can't, I'm sorry, but I can't relate to all this labeling.
but maybe that's just you as one person, right?
Hmm.
We are talking about like
Hmm.
how this big concept, and
So
it
it's a
is,
concept. That's what I'm trying to.
of course,
So what does it take for us to let go of the concept?
but we haven't, right? And I think it takes a lot, because we have see, like, you can condition a human being to become anything. If I raise a human being as a dog all their life, at 15 or 16 years of age, I think they will be fully convinced that they are dogs. It's like Plato's cave
Yeah.
allegory, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody was in the cave and they were like, no, there's nothing outside. And when someone saw a little bit outside and said, hey, you know what, I think there's something outside, he was labeled as a mad person. So of course human beings, and I mean, we both agree on this, that, and in the past we've had conversations about this as well, that how conditioning is so strong in people. Like culture is so strong. Like food, food is memories. What you had, the rajma chawal your mom made, you'll never find that rajma chawal anywhere else, right? So that's how strong conditioning is, right? So I think if one grows in a patriarchal or a conservative family where male and female roles are really defined, like very segregated, I think it is very hard to, do you think it would be very hard to break out of it? Like you just said, what does it take? I think it takes everything, no?
Yes, it takes everything, but then see, if something is paining you, it should
Hmm.
pain you enough for you to want to let
Yeah.
go of the pain.
Yeah.
So if we are not getting rid of the dark side of patriarchy
Yeah.
because it hasn't pained us enough. It's as
Hmm.
simple as that. If you have a baby in your belly,
Hmm.
when the pain becomes too much, you will push it out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When a relationship becomes extremely toxic, you will push it out. When
Hmm.
something is so poisonous in your
Hmm.
body will push it out.
Hmm.
Now, if the patriarchy is not going out of our system because
Yeah.
we like the pain.
Maybe I mean, I'm sure it's not as simple as that, right? Do you think it could be as simple as that?
Everything is as simple as it looks. It's just that our mind likes to make it complicated to feel, oh,
Hmm.
it's a great challenge I need to overcome. And once it
Yeah.
overcomes that challenge, then it's a great mind. You know? So life is quite simple. See, any disease of the society, whether we want to call patriarchy a
Hmm.
disease, whether we want to, call the gender issue which is happening a disease, whether we want to call the emotional imbalance, whatever we want to call a
Huh.
disease, unless that disease is really paining us
Hmm.
enough, we
Hmm.
will not heal it. So if we are
Hmm.
not healing this issue, it means we are enjoying the pain. It is as simple as that. It's giving us something in return.
Hmm.
Patriarchy is giving a lot of comfort to women,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
My issue is that
Hmm.
if this is what you really do not like because of how men behaved,
Hmm.
because they were allowed to behave, now with the women empowerment, why is it that you're doing what they were doing? Why are you not changing the way they were doing? If you are standing for something which pained you, then you should just stand and find a solution which is not like it. Now, if men went out and did all the crappy stuff that they did, what are we women in under the name of freedom doing?
Hmm. But psychologically hurt people analogy applies, right? That because I was hurt. So that's the thing
No, but
about
now we are
bullying.
talking about the movement, right? It's no more psychology. Now, very intellectual minds have come and told you that patriarchy is very bad, it is harming the society. So, we should now have women empowerment.
Hmm.
And then the women who are empowered are exactly doing what the men were doing to them and to their mothers and grandmothers. So, I'm sorry, you're not getting rid of patriarchy,
Hmm.
you're creating another parallel, and now you're at war with each other.
Give me some examples of that. How do you think women are doing this?
Let's say
Hmm.
the only situationships, relationships where women are jumping from one partner to another under the name of the freedom.
Hmm.
Let's say abuse of alcohol and drug.
Hmm.
Let's say becoming aggressive on the road, you
Hmm.
know letting the value system of the family fall. Men are not helping us in the household. That's why the children are so unruly. Now I am empowered. So even I leave the children back with someone who will take care of them. And now we both are working because now it's the game of power between me and my partner. So he's working, he's providing. I will work, I will provide, so that he cannot control me, and probably I will control him. And in the middle of all of this, who's being sacrificed?
The children.
The children, the
What's
fabric of the society.
But what's the solution? Do you really think it seems like a problem that really
The
you know,
solution is what we started this conversation in initially. What did you say?
being
A
single?
partnership
Is it
is
being single?
partnership is about acceptance. Why can't we accept that we are not enemies and we are not in two roles opposite each other? One is not a hero and the other is not a villain. We are actually both together in this as a team. We are supposed to be not opposite but complementary.
Right.
We are supposed to co-create. If this one is doing something wrong, me going and doing the same thing to him is not make anything correct.
Sure.
Two wrong will not make one good.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So how? So it's just need a little bit of understanding and thinking that okay, I need to be empowered, but is this really empowering me? If it is empowering me, how is it adding any value to my ecosystem? Is it taking everything from it or is it giving something to it?
So it's something like, tell me if this is something that is a decent summary of what you've said, that no matter, it may not have been my fault what happened to me, but it's definitely now my responsibility what I do with it, right? So I think that is it's a very shattering realization that, I may have acted out of anger because I was, say, a woman who was really put down by patriarchy, and really, so you're already in a defense mode, you know, you're basically just operating from trauma and survival. You're not operating from thriving and living, right? Your senses are already dulled, and your fight, flight, fawn, freeze response, you're everywhere you're going like that. With that you got married, with that you had children, and now you've come to a point in your life where your body is given up and it's saying that no, you know what, I cannot do this. Okay, so then at that moment, some people, men and women both, I feel, some people start operating like this, that okay, that was done to me, I'm going to do this back to you, right? So they sort of, that is where the victim turns into the perpetrator, which is human psyche, that happens. So I mean, like, obviously culturally and conceptually these things happen in silos, but together they do form that the different movements. I don't want to take names because I'm not, a student or a researcher enough to say that this was X movement or Y movement, but we know how it's playing out in society these days, right? So let's say that is one way to do it, but you are suggesting that the other way to do it, which is like all external change is going to come from internal change. So that is when, no matter how bad things have been for you and how angry and shattered you feel, and how that sense of injustice is really crushing you, even in that moment, you probably just stop and take stock of what's happening. And responding from anger and bitterness is never going to get you what you actually want.
It will only create more anger and bitterness, right? So now if I want to add a little bit of even a spiritual aspect to it, because that's what I originally study. See, every soul chooses what they want to go through. If as a collective we chose that we want to experience patriarchy, right? And now as a collective we don't want to do it, then as a collective we should find a solution which is good for both men and women.
Now it's you talking.
है ना?
This is core you.
So how can I see, forget about collective, let's say we are a family of 4 and I have suffered because I'm a woman, I went through shit, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Now I want to correct this because enough is enough.
sure.
Me torturing the kids and the husband will help in anything.
No. Yeah.
Okay,
won't.
I need to understand, why did I even allow this to happen to me? What is it that now I will stand up, right? When I understand, okay, these are my weaknesses,
Hmm.
these are the places I myself compromise my self-worth, self-respect, whatever,
Yeah.
and I allowed it to happen.
Hmm.
But I don't need to torture the whole society, do
Hmm.
name calling, blaming, this, that, become
Hmm.
bitter, resentful, all
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
just to feel better. If I
Hmm.
want to feel better, I need to do better.
Hmm.
By labeling, I'm not going to get anywhere,
Hmm.
neither by torturing the other person, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And as you said, only hurt people will hurt people. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah.
doing the same thing to
Hmm.
patriarchy
Hmm.
because I was hurt by it, so so the same
Hmm.
principle applies whether it is an individual or a society, whether it is a movement or a non-movement. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. But the principle is this: if you
Hmm.
suffered, okay,
Hmm.
someone did it to you.
Hmm.
Now you have understood. It is
Hmm.
your responsibility not to suffer,
Hmm.
but also you don't have the right to make the other person suffer. Then leave. Then if
Hmm.
you cannot make anything better and you're still suffering, then
Hmm.
leave.
Hmm.
But you can't be doing the same thing the other person did to you and think, oh, okay, now things are going. Now we are having justice. That's not
Hmm.
justice,
No, it's
right?
not. It's just retribution, which never works.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a beautiful observation that I suffered, but making someone else suffer is not really going to help my suffering. In fact, it's creating more pain. Universally, collectively, I'm creating more pain because I am coming from a place of pain. But tell me, what do we do? Say now I'm that person, wrong was done to me by patriarchy or by whatever conservative
Whatever, yeah.
systems, etc. I went without knowing or understanding anything. I went into a relationship, went into a marriage, had kids, and finally I realized that okay, no more, I cannot. So how do we, where do we go from this place? We know that we are not we know that we can't take out more anger. Nothing is going to be achieved by being more angry and bitter and taking it out on everybody, etc. But okay, now that we know that, tell me, what do we do then? What is to be done?
We go back to the beginning of the conversation. Then we become honest with ourselves.
Okay.
If this is so much pain,
Hmm.
then why am I still choosing to be in it?
Hmm.
How is this pain really serving me? Because it is.
Hmm.
Okay, I am the good girl.
Hmm.
I'm the good bahu. Oh, so
Huh.
sweet. She's gone through so much. Oh my God, all of
Hmm.
that shit,
Hmm.
right? Now, if I'm honest, I realize I have allowed it to happen to me for whatever reason.
Hmm.
Now I need to be honest and to see if I want to carry it out. Do I have it in me to now change that in me which caused me the pain and then stop the pain, right?
Hmm.
And some people have it, some people don't have it. Now if I don't have it, am I resourceful enough within myself that I step out without the need to manipulate people for money, go after them, defame them?
Hmm. Hmm.
Just focusing on myself, can I make a life?
Hmm.
Would I be happy in that life?
Hmm.
See, the question is, if, as I said, if there's so much pain that you no more can take it, you will push it out or you will step out. If
Hmm.
you're in it, it is serving you. Then be honest and understand what in this pain is serving you and why do you like this pain, right?
Hmm.
So the movement either to stay and heal it or to leave and find another life. When I say find another life, I don't mean find another life partner. First find yourself,
Hmm.
and then build the life around the one you find, the new you, right? You need to be honest to see, can you do it?
Hmm.
If you cannot, then you will stay and you will consume the pain and then you will blame the person for your pain. But if you have the guts and the courage and the
Hmm.
strength and you can come out and build a new you and a new life, you will never stay in that pain. Whether the whole society, whether God itself comes down, you will not take it.
Hmm.
So if we are taking it because we want it, now from
Hmm.
here it again goes back to honesty. We have to be honest and see what can we do.
This is not just honesty, sir. This is radical level of honesty, and I think it
But
will.
that's what human beings are meant to
Hmm.
be. If he has created you in his light, then you are the light. Now, if you're not choosing to shine, then that's not his problem or your husband's problem or my
Hmm.
problem. It is your problem. So, this
Hmm.
radical honesty, unless you have it, you will not create a better life. You
Hmm.
want to be dependent on everyone else to give you a life, and it's not their responsibility. Whether
Hmm.
it is your child or your parent or your husband or your wife, it is not their responsibility to give you happiness and a life that you want. right? Unless you believe you deserve it. Now, if you deserve it, you will create it either through them or by yourself, right?
Or in another relationship, that is why the patterns keep repeating,
Yeah.
right? You keep meeting
No,
the
if
same.
you don't heal it, yeah, exactly. If you don't heal it, if you don't stand up for yourself, the pattern repeats, as you said very well.
But the pattern is repeating. So I think what you're trying to say is, correct me, tell me if I've got it right. The pattern is repeating because we are choosing the same response and we are not learning whatever it is that we need to learn. What is it that we need to learn?
Probably we are not having the confidence in ourselves that we truly deserve what we desire. That's
Okay.
what we are not learning. And then this goes back to a very cliche topic called self-love, which is not about you choosing yourself at the cost of others, as I said. It is choosing you because the other thing is costing you now. The cost you're paying for something which you do not want is you yourself. Your whole self is the cost. Now you have to have the strength to choose you, but not at the cost of others. I always tell to my female clients, especially, there are also a lot of male who are suffering. Honestly, it's really crazy what's happening in today's world. But let's say the talk seems to be very female oriented. So, my female clients, I tell them that if you come out of this relationship with zero money, just the clothes you're wearing,
Huh.
and someone tells you the only job I have for you is to clean toilet, if you're prepared to do that to get back your freedom, then you're truly stepping out of your pain. If no, you want to still your luxury and your, 3 carat diamond and, all of that, and then you think someone is supposed to provide that, all of that after all the blame game, it's not going to happen. Then you stay where you are. I don't buy this that women are helpless. Which, if a woman can give birth, go through that pain, bring up a child, take care of sick people in the family,
Yeah.
cook, do everything, how come
Yeah.
she can't take care of herself? Please don't give me that excuse.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, so I follow these rural research project people. So I read a lot of research on what rural people, what the life of rural people in India is, right? And in the poorest of villages, they go and they sort of shoot people working. And the most back-breaking labor is done by women.
Yeah.
It's women who are like ants. They are working there. इतना इतना वो बोझा इकट्ठा करके जा रहे हैं. Even today, I live in the suburbs, and I see so many people. Like there are a lot of villages around where I stay, and I see so many women. They go with this big dha
Yeah.
and they chop the wood and they bring it. So if you can do that,
You can do anything.
you can do anything.
If you can carry a child for 9 months and give birth, the
Yeah.
bone breaking pain you can go through, and
Yeah.
let your body go up down everywhere all over the
Yeah.
place,
And then bring up that child also.
and then go and dare to have another one.
Another one. Yeah.
Right? Then
Yeah.
you can do anything. So if you're not doing, it's not the man or the society or patriarchy, it is you. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a lot of people not liking me, but that's that's
No,
the
but
truth.
But tell me, you said that, I mean, it's very empowering that, if a woman can do anything, a woman really can do anything. And if she can endure that kind of pain, etc. But I mean, I do sort of understand. I may not agree with women who are willing to see today's structure. It is true that today's structure is, women do, like, it's a world of capitalism, right? And women have been turned into men who bleed, basically, because they expect women to work at the same working hours, the same ways.
Who is expecting?
I think the whole structure is like that.
No. We
You
are
don't believe?
choosing that.
Okay, we collectively, as a society, as an entire global diaspora, have created political, economical, financial, and social systems where a woman is expected to join the male workforce in corporate and private and public enterprises all throughout the world in different countries. And no, I would love your answer on this. Go ahead and laugh. Go ahead and laugh.
Who
So
is expecting women to do this?
all of us have collectively created these
We have
structures.
created, exactly.
Yes, we have. We have.
So we have chosen it.
Yes, we have chosen it. And exactly. So we have created these structures now, and now women are expected to work just as men, whereas the systems are made in a more linear way. As I see it, I feel like for example, in a private enterprise, there is no menstrual leave. There is, I mean, if a woman has a child, of course she goes back in her career a few years. She's no credence, no credit is given to her financially, right? So your social status as a woman is depleted. If you're a single woman, it's harder to bring up a child, right? I mean, as a single man also it's hard. As a single woman, it's, if you're a divorced person, it's hard. There's more social stigma on a woman. A woman is seen as prey, like, leave everything, just the, if there's a dark parking lot and your car is on the other side, a man's experience of walking to his car and a woman's experience of walking to her car is different, right? So sometimes I feel like women do operate on a lot of defensive level, because it is true that we have created these structures, but as one person living on this earth, it's too much for me. How do I change that? What do I do? How do I feel empowered in such a structure, even though knowing fully well that it is all of us who
See,
have created it?
so I think the first thing we can do is, first of all, to accept this is our creation. We have messed it up. So we always say the solution starts from the point of awareness. Once you're
Okay.
aware this is a problem we created, no one is expecting a woman to do anything. She wants to be the superwoman. She wants to be the best daughter, the best mother, the most good looking girlfriend, the most well dressed so and so on and so forth, and also the CEO of the company. So it is her expectation of herself. It is no one else is doing this to her, right? Number one. So we have understood this is the problem. And if we are moving as women differently in the society, it is because as women we started going out and we forgot to raise children who know how to behave in the society. So why should my daughter be scared of your son if both our children are raised properly? If we have taught them the human values, why should my daughter be scared of someone else's son? Because that person was busy earning money and doing the performance, didn't bother about the true role and value that she had, which was raising a son who values another woman.
And now that has sort of like,
Now
now
that
I
has,
have to pay the price, or my daughter has to pay, it has to
yeah,
pay the
so what
price
is
for
the
it.
solution? One step at a time, change it. Don't choose to do that. Don't choose to become a superwoman. See what are the priorities and understand what you're doing is affecting the whole of the society. Be proud of being a mother as long as you're a mother. And so what if I am raising my child for 18 years and I'm behind of other people who are right now CEOs? So what? All of us are going to die. We are not going to take any title, any name, anything with us. The only legacy we will leave behind is the value system we have given to the next generations that are coming. Right? So if I can change my mind and teach the same thing to my son, not only my daughter, also my son, that allow your wife to raise your child well, be an example, be a role model, be the right provider, protect your family, protect your woman. Don't look at other women. Don't go play around with other men's women. If we teach this, then we don't have to be superwomen and we don't have to do anything. It just takes 3 generations for this to heal. But only if today we take responsibility. It's not going to change overnight just because I'm suffering.
All right, so tell
Yeah.
me, say I do that in my household, as a singular household of 4 people, I'm doing it. But outside in the world, I cannot control people who are not doing it. I cannot hold them responsible. And I pay the price, or my daughter pays the price for
No, if
someone
you're
else.
doing
So,
it, you will not pay the price. You know why? Because the universe responds to your energy. If you
okay.
are doing that, you will only meet people who will value that,
Hmm.
right? And you will only attract like-minded people,
Hmm.
right? If I have raised my child well, my child will only be able to gel with another person who has been raised well. If that person has not been raised well, the gut feeling will tell all of us that this family is not for us.
Okay.
So one family at a time we have to change. We can't wait forever that suddenly there would
Yeah.
be a miracle and a Messiah will come and the whole society will change. But the change has to start from some household. Why not it be me?
Yeah. So basically, the word that's coming to my mind is trust. So I have to basically do my best show up and be responsible and take accountability for
Yeah.
my behavior in my family, in my relationship, in my partnership,
Yeah.
as a parent, in the world outside, and then simply trust the universe.
And imagine if everyone does that, then do we have any problem?
Yes, but that
The
just sounds
problem is I
utopic.
want to do what I want to do, but it is the society's responsibility to keep my children safe.
And perhaps the problem also is that I am conditioned and compelled to behave in certain ways that I may be hating myself for, but I am not equipped enough to understand how to get out of it.
Yeah, how to get out of it's just a choice. I mean, you know, I choose not to be this way from today.
Hmm.
And then I may still do certain things,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
go back to the old conditioning.
Hmm.
Of course, because we are creatures of patterns and
Hmm.
habits, it
Hmm.
is going to take time. But every time I do it, if I check myself and at
Yeah.
least try to 50%, 20%, 10% improve, after 2 years, I would be a
Hmm.
different person,
Yeah. So it's a
right?
constant quest to be better and change. So basically, you believe that we can change ourselves. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of like switching your brain.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
also watching yourself,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's come back to partnerships. Okay, we started this with choosing a partner. So we've loosely talked about choosing a partner when we're inside a marriage, evolving in different directions, trying to find a middle ground, acceptance, being radically honest with ourselves, our role as parents. Tell me, you mentioned some time ago a very interesting prospect, which I also see a lot happening in
Hmm.
people around me, and generally when you read books and generally see things on the internet, you come to know about what's happening in families and in partnerships these days. So typically what happens is that one partner sort of realizes or self realizes certain things. Now they are trying to engage the other partner with what they have realized, and the other partner is simply not able to see. And it is not, a lot of times I have noticed that it is not a matter of intent, that they simply don't intend, they just don't care. It's a matter of capacity, because as you
Yeah.
mentioned before, people are raised in very different ways, and also I think men are raised in very different ways, women are raised in very different ways. In India specifically, if I talk about my generation, I don't really know what's how Gen Z is being raised, and they're definitely, everybody agrees they're very different. But as millennials, women were raised with a lot of feedback, do this, do that, so we are more pliant and compliant and willing to do better, which puts us in a very strong position in certain things and also puts us in a weak position in certain other aspects. However, men are raised as, आदमी के लिए तो बेस्ट चीज, सबसे बड़ी एक्सपेक्टेशन आदमी से है कि वो पैदा हो जाए. उसके बाद it is just like, oh, you're fine, whatever you're
I find you so biased towards men. Sorry.
whatever you're doing, it's great. And maybe I'm speaking from my trauma, who knows, right? We'll work on it also. So men are raised with that confidence or those responsibilities also, so now person, your partner is raised in a very different way, right? And ये तो मैंने बहुत ही basic example दिया, इसके nuances में बहुत
Hmm.
सारी चीजें होती हैं. However, tell me, now when my partner is not able, they don't have the capacity to understand, how do I love them, and when do I sort of decide to let go?
Okay. So I think um, the main issue is that we kind of lack a few things in our life partnerships or even friendships. Basically, society has gone from a human consciousness, which was supposed to be living in a pack, right? Communities take care of each other. We were tribal, we are social animals. As even infants, we know we cannot survive unless someone is there to feed us. It's not like animal,
Yeah.
offspring that we
Yeah.
just born and get up and do our own thing.
Hmm.
So this thing is being kind of sabotaged. It's got distorted. Now every person has been made to believe that they alone are enough.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
am that I am and all of that. Okay, that's
Yes.
the soul level. But I am not enough in a society, right? I am not going to be okay if I am alone. I am not gonna be okay if I don't have my community, my support system. We need to accept this. Whatever they're telling us, oh, solitude is good, loneliness and being alone are different, all that jazz is very nice, but that is for someone who's already realized. Now, for
Sure.
normal people like us, that's not gonna work.
Hmm.
So we are always in conflict. Now, as a result of this distortion of our reality and consciousness, what has happened is we are now really not having a very solid ground for anything, right? And now the empathy and the compassion and the sense of co-creation and the sense of coming and complementing each other, not completing each other, just complementing each other, has changed. Now, because I read so much and I did some workshops and I know it more than anyone else, I am the, whatever god of my community. So now I will not have empathy for the person with their pain because I know it all. If I can do it, even that person can do it. It doesn't work like that. We need to be able to really, if we are with a partner or in any friendship relationship, we need to really try and first understand the other person, not because we want to understand them to manipulate them. We want to understand them from a space of compassion and empathy. We must introduce empathy, compassion, kindness. Also, to be able to be a little less judgmental and blaming, and also teach them. Okay, but we don't have to impose things. Now, the problem is if I know, then I want to tell you have to do this. I may know, I may have done it, but it's a matter of capacity, right? Some people may not even understand because that was not the language their parents spoke to them. Your love would be coming with a smile and you want to be soft, and the other person has never seen this. So
Yes.
your softness is fakeness for them. They
Sure.
can't get it, right?
Yes, yes.
So if we try and study our partner from this place with empathy and understanding, okay, where this person is lacking, what is bothering.
Yeah.
Now, that shouldn't be at the cost of you, but this level of compassion and empathy, if it is introduced into any relationship and if we raise our children with it, then there would be a solid ground. Now you can put things on it and you can see how you want to build it. Can it be built? Right? But without compassion, acceptance, understanding, kindness, empathy, you are trying to build a castle on a sand. It's never gonna stay. It's gonna fall apart, right? So I think to be able to understand and put ourselves in the other person's shoes, because we see, as human beings, it is all about perception and what perspective I have of life. If this is how I see my life, and this is the framework I have always been introduced to, it is very difficult. Let's say I'm a painter. I only know how to do watercolor. Now, when you're giving me oil and knife and telling me, oh, bindas, put your paint on the canvas and don't worry about it. It can be corrected. I would be petrified because in watercolor, you can't really correct it.
Yeah.
Right? So, if we want to do that, we have to be patient also. How to? One stroke at a time, right? One technique at a time. But nowadays, because we want to be superhuman beings, we don't have time and the patience, and on the top of it, the self-love is okay, it's all about me, right?
Yeah.
So that is, I think, to be able to understand people are different, they see life differently, they come from different wounds. Some people have the capacity to hold the pain, some people will project the pain on you. Now, in that case, do I have the capacity to take the projection? Sometimes we don't have it, right?
Yes.
So all of this really needs what you said, radical analysis and honesty about yourself, the partner, the situationship, and then deal with it in a very kind, compassionate way. Otherwise, it won't work. No relationship would work.
So it is the task of a lifetime.
Yeah, see, we are beings of many, I would say millions of lifetimes, and we have gathered everything. Now we are meeting another human being with millions of years of history, and we want to make it happen as of yesterday. It won't. It will take time, and I think it is worth it. If we can really work on a relationship, it's the most beautiful thing. Why I say that is because as human beings, we need companionship. We grow together. We usually don't grow alone.
Yes.
Look at Buddha, look at Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They went, they found themselves, they came, back, And then they became enlightened in the setup.
Yes.
Because without it, you can't be.
Hmm.
Why? Because you need to be in acceptance of the kind of life you have, and you need to
Hmm.
be in acceptance of the setup you have.
Hmm.
That acceptance is actual love. The
Hmm.
other love we know is no love.
Wow. I think that is the perfect conclusion to this very vast and sort of like a complex cobweb of a topic of choosing partners. And thank you so much for this wonderful
Thank you. I
conversation.
enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely. It was really fun. It was really, really fun. Thank you, Sar.
Thank you. Thanks to you.